Hello, hello. Welcome in. I'm Tammy Mashtaberty, best-selling author of the book The Universe is Talking to You, and I teach people how to tap in to what I call the Divine Higher Helpline, available to us all 24/7, 365. And today I am going to be sharing with you, we're actually going to do an exercise together to get a sign from a loved one, or an angel, or a guide, or a pet. I already saw somebody, Jessica, in the in YouTube was asking, can you do this for a pet who's crossed over? 150% you can do this for a pet who's crossed over. Hi, Gina. So I'm excited to share this with you. And the reason when I do these weekly spirit boosts, I always sort of check in. I don't pre-plan a lot of them. I really sort of check in and say what has happened to me since the last time I've been on here, or a client or a friend, or what topic is on my heart. What do I want to talk about? Hi, Michelle. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in Lilydale, New York, which if you have never been there, it's literally like a 2 square mile town, and it's filled with mediums who really live there and inhabit there, and healers, and it's an amazing community. And so I taught a full day workshop there in their assembly hall, had a blast, so much fun with everybody. And as part of that, the workshop was about how to hear messages or get messages from loved ones or the universe. And part of that workshop was to receive signs. And we did this exercise that I'm about to do with all of you. And we did it right before the lunch break. I did like a meditation with everybody to open their intuition. We called in angels to sort of open their chakras. And we did this exercise, and everybody went off to lunch, and we came back. I think it was like an hour and a half later. So we came back. I ran into a couple of people at the lunch break who were like, Tammy, I already got my sign. Then we came back, and a bunch of people were saying to me, oh my gosh, I already got my sign. When we do this exercise, we ask for the sign within 3 days. As I'm explaining to you, some people will get the sign right away. Some people will wind up getting it in a couple of days. Some people will say to me, Tammy, it's been 3 days and I haven't gotten the sign. And I always say to them, I promise you it was sent. You missed it. We live in chaos. We live in craziness. Our lives are busy. If you miss it, just ask again. Okay? Just ask again. Don't think, oh my gosh, it didn't work. My loved one or my angel or whomever I decided, my pet, whomever, is not connecting with me. I knew it. Don't do that. Just ask again. So it's so funny because I was just talking about that and something literally just fell on the floor. So someone's around me. Okay. So here's the exercise. It's called Assign a Sign. It's literally on page 75 of my book, and we're going to do it together. There's also an exercise. There's also a video on YouTube where I share about this exercise, but I came up with this exercise because years ago I had a magazine and I interviewed a medium named Rebecca Rosen. You might know her. She has books out, and she was telling me about her husband who used the number 144 and knew that was a sign, like from loved ones, angels, what have you. And he used that because his birth date was December 12th. And I believe he multiplied the two numbers, and that's how he came up with 144. And every time he saw 144, he just knew his loved ones were around. That was sort of the sign that he chose. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm actually inadvertently doing this with my mother and with whomever, because my mother would send me a sign. She would use her birth date. She would use her name, a specific song on the radio, and I would recognize it. And I would say, oh my gosh, that's my mother. Hi, Mom, right? Inadvertently, I was giving her that sign to use again, because once we get a sign, our loved ones are like, yes, I made it through. I'm going to do it again. So I was actually assigning signs without realizing I was doing it. So then I thought, why not just cut to the chase and just assign the sign? Why wait for it to come? So that's where this exercise came from. So we're going to do it together. All you have to do is think of who you would like to get a sign from. It can be anybody that's passed on. It can even be like a spiritual teacher like Wayne Dyer who's passed on if you were a big follower of him. It can be a pet who has passed on. It can be a specific angel during the workshop that I did. My husband actually was with me helping me, and so he did the exercises along with everyone else. He assigned a sign to Archangel Michael. So you can assign a sign if you're on a healing journey. You can assign a sign to Archangel Raphael. You can, if you know your guides, you can assign a sign. You can also say, you know what, I just really want to know all of my guides and angels around me. Can I assign a sign to the collective group? 100% you can do that as well. Okay. So just choose who would you like to hear from. And what we're asking them is to use a sign, and we're gonna assign the sign to let us know that they're around and that they're helping us and that everything is okay. Basically, that's what we're going to ask them to use the sign for. So pick a sign, pick a loved one, pick a pet, pick whomever you would like to assign the sign to, and then pick a sign. It can be anything. It can be a specific number. It can be a birth date of yours or your loved one, or, whatever. It can be a type of animal. It can be a specific flower. It can be a certain color of a certain flower, right? Like a red rose, or my husband used a yellow bird for Archangel Michael. He wanted to see a yellow bird. And I'll tell you something, it was the lunch break and we went outside and we ate and we came back and we had a little time. So we were sitting on the porch of this, it's kind of like a house, but it was it was a workshop hall. And we were sitting on the porch before the workshop started again. And all of a sudden he looked to the left and boom, a yellow bird, a yellow with like a little bit of black on it, stopped right where we were. And he goes, oh my God, that's my sign, right? So choose a sign. So you're going to choose who you want to assign a sign to. You're going to choose a sign. We're going to do the exercise together, and then I'm going to explain to you sort of how it's going to work in the next few days, if that makes sense. So all you need to know right now, and we're going to do it together, we're actually going to say like a little prayer, sort of assign the sign. And all you need to know right now is who you're giving it to and what that sign is. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Pam is asking on YouTube, how do you know who is your guide? You don't. So I have a class that I teach every year. I've already taught it this year about meeting a guide. If you don't know who your guide is, you can just say, I want to assign a sign to my guides, right? Some people have gone through exercises where they know specific guides. I actually did that in the workshop as well. And I'm going to tell you a story about that in a minute, connected to signs as well. My sister and my niece are watching. Hello. Alyssa asked, can you ask a question, then say, only send me a sign if it's a yes? You can do that, but I will tell you that if you're asking a question that you are emotionally attached to, if you are emotionally involved, like you really want a yes, I wouldn't mess with it, because your own emotions and your own vibration can give you a false reading type of a thing, if that makes sense. So that's the only reason I wouldn't do that, depending on what you're asking about. Okay. Okay, so let's do the exercise. So hopefully everybody at this point has a sign. I know we're live on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram all at the same time. So hopefully at this point you have a sign that you're assigning, and you have a person or whomever you're going to be assigning that sign to. So here's what we're going to do. I want if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. You can also do this with your eyes open, but you're just going to repeat after me, okay? And I'm reading this again directly from my book, page 75. Dear universe, I surround myself with the sparkling light of love and peace as I call in, and I want you to call in whomever it is that you're going to be assigning the sign to. So if it's a loved one, if it's an angel, if it's a pet who's passed on, call in whomever that is. I know you've been trying to communicate with me. And I have been missing the signs. You are sending. I am ready to open myself up to communication from you. I would like to offer you a sign to use so that I will know you are around and guiding me. Please use the sign of, and then give them whatever sign you have thought of. Give them whatever sign you decided you want to give them. And from now on, I promise to be open and accept the sign when I see it in the future. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. And then if you had your eyes closed, you can open your eyes. So what that has essentially done is called in the person, gave them the sign, and you have set the intention to be open to that sign. Okay? Now, I want you to know that I don't want you to be super literal or specific. Okay? So I'm going to give you an example. If you chose a red rose, don't think I have to see an actual flower planted in the ground that's a red rose. You can go into a restroom at a restaurant and it can have red roses on the wallpaper. You can sit down at a restaurant and the cover of the menu has a red rose on it, okay? It doesn't have to be, oh, I have to see the actual flower. Your loved one will use whatever they can to grab your attention. I remember I did an interview a while ago on a podcast when the book first came out, and someone said to me, okay, I'm going to do this exercise and I'm going to use a red balloon in the sky. And I said to her, listen, don't think you have to walk out of your house, look up in the sky and see a red balloon. You could see an image. You could be watching TV and a red balloon passes in the sky on a show that you're watching or a movie that you're watching. It can be an image that you see somewhere. And then she wound up emailing me back and saying she wound up seeing, I think it was on Facebook, she wound up seeing something with like a red balloon in the sky with somebody holding a balloon, right? So be open to it. If you assign this a specific song, pay attention to the radio. Pay attention to if you are in a store that has music playing. There has been so many times I have been in the grocery store and my mother has used one of the songs that I know she uses. Again, because I've basically caught on to it and inadvertently assigned it to her, where I'm in the grocery store and I'm like, oh my gosh, my mother is here. So just be open to it. The other thing I have to say is if you thought of a sign and then changed your mind, your loved one, your pet, the angels, whomever, may use that first sign. So if you thought of two different things, just pay attention. Because I've had that happen too, where people are like, well, I used this one. And then I thought, that's going to be too difficult. I better change it. And then they changed it. And then the first one came through. Pay attention. I had one woman, I'll never forget, emailed me that she used the theme song from Cats. And she was like, I'll never hear this. And she literally wound up hearing it. So I promise you this works. I want you to give it time. It can happen again. When we did this exercise within that hour and a half of a lunch break, a handful of people came up to me and were like, I already got my sign. I can't believe this worked. So, including my husband. So I want you to be open to it. And I'll give you another example from that weekend connected to my husband that shows you that they will use the sign in different ways. So as part of the workshop, I had everybody meet a guide. We did a visualization where people met a guide. And in that exercise, at the end of it, I had the people ask the guide that showed up, what sign will you use to let me know you're around? So again, my husband did the exercise and he got a hammer, like, like a tool. And so we were driving home. It was like a 6-hour drive from Lilydale that the following day. And we're driving and we were talking about the workshop and he was like, "Oh, I can't believe that exercise was so cool where, you meet a guide and blah blah blah." And we were literally talking about the exercise. We wound up driving a different route home than we did there because of traffic. And so it was actually a prettier route. It was, instead of just being on the highway, we kind of were like in different parts of Pennsylvania. It was really beautiful. So we wound up that morning changing our route. So as we're talking about this in the car, he says to me, he looks up at one of the street signs. Now, he hadn't looked at any of the street signs. We were just driving down the road. He looks up and the street sign says Hammer Road, right while we were talking about the exercise and the sign. Both of us had chills over our whole body. Like we were freaking out for like 5 minutes in the car. It was so crazy. So what I'm saying to you is he got a sign of a hammer, but the word hammer was also used, right? So be open to how the sign will come through. Don't pigeonhole yourself and think he has to actually go and see a physical hammer somewhere. Not the case. And the interesting thing is he actually wrote because I gave them journals to write in, and he actually wrote the word hammer in big all capital letters for some reason, and that's exactly what that sign said, and it was so cool. It was amazing. So I want you to just go and try this exercise, okay? And then report back to me because I love hearing it. I had people tell me they saw pink butterflies, a white angel feather, so many different things that they got, and they couldn't believe they got their sign that quickly. If you don't get your sign that quickly, don't freak out. It is okay. Sometimes it takes time. And again, if 3 days have passed and you're like, I didn't get anything, I just want you to check back in with that person and say, listen, you probably sent it. I probably missed it. Life has been crazy. Life has been hectic, especially if you're new to noticing signs. Can you please just send it again? And then wait another 3 days. Not a big deal. I've had people say they've gotten it in 7 days, but I've never had somebody come back to me and say, Tammy, it didn't work. So I just want you to try it. I just want you to try it because it is incredible. And my husband was just, he hears me talk about this stuff all the time. This is the first time he actually took a whole workshop with me, and his mind was blown about some of this stuff. He's like, Tammy, I believe everything you say, but I just like to experience these things myself. Was crazy. Okay, I want to just see if there's any questions that I might have missed. Mary on Facebook says, my mom was born on 10/29/21. Every time I see 10/29 or 10/21, I say, hi, mom, love you. 100%. My mother was May 9th. So anytime I see 0509 or 059, I literally moved to a area that has 059 in the zip code. And I was like, I didn't even realize it until after we moved there. And I was like, oh my gosh, my mother had a hand in this. Hi, Suzanne from Scotland. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I did my annual pendulum class the other night. We had people from Switzerland and it was crazy. Geraldine, is a birth date too hard? Absolutely not. Like that's so funny that you said that because Mary was just saying she was using the birth date. My mother uses her birth date all the time. It is May 9th. And I will constantly see things with 0509. I'll never forget. This was years ago. I had a cordless phone on the floor of my bedroom. And I was rushing around and I was rushing into the room. And as I rushed into the room, I stepped on the phone and I was pissed because I'm like, oh my God, that hurt. And I picked up the phone and I looked at it and my foot dialed 0509. They will find a way to get it through. So no, a birth date is not too hard. I don't know if I would use the full, birth date, but like the date and the month or something like that, um, is totally work. It's so perfect. Oh my God, Susan. She said, "Oh my God, I just assigned a red balloon, and here you are talking about it. Talk about validation. 100%. That's so funny." And again, don't think that you have to see a physical red balloon. It could be an image of a red balloon. It could be a red balloon in a movie or a television show. They use everything they can use around them. Okay. Hi, June from England. Fantastic. Oh, Tina, she was at my class in Lilydale. Hi, Tina. It was a great class. Highly recommend the pendulum class. Yes, we just did the pendulum class. I do that every year. So if you missed it, stay tuned. I'll do it again. Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. Genevieve says, I do the same thing. My mother's birthday is January 17th. Anytime I see 117, I say, hi, mom, 100%. And the best part is the more that you get it, the more they're going to use it. They want you to know they're around. They're not trying to trick you. They're not trying to make it hard, right? They want you to know it's them. So if you get something and say, hi, mom, hi, dad, hi, whomever, my angel, whatever, they're going to go, oh my gosh, she got it. I'm going to use it again. Why not use it again? So inadvertently, you are giving them these signs. You are giving them these signs, whether we're doing the assign exercise or you just accept the signs that come. And I love that. I love that you're saying hello. Okay, let me say. John says, can you ask for two completely different signs for a loved one? Yes, I asked my dear friend for a dime and a red rose. Yes, but accept both of them, whatever one comes, right? So like I said, my mother will use her actual name. There are specific songs on the radio. I have multiple signs that my mother uses for me to let me know she's around. I literally just got a sign from her the other day. And it was funny because in that Lilydale class, I was talking about songs on the radio and I was explaining that my mother uses a song called I Hope You Dance by Leanne Womack. This was years ago. I mean, she's been gone for like 20 years, but it was a new song at the time. And so I still will hear that song randomly at the exact time that I need to hear from her. And I was explaining that, and she just, was it yesterday? Yesterday or the day before that, used the sign in my life. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she did it again. And this song has been around for over 20 years. It's not something you hear on the radio all the time. I happen to hear it on the radio. And I happen to hear it because I was on a phone call that accidentally dropped. And when the phone call accidentally dropped, the song, the radio turned back on, right? And then all of a sudden I heard the beginning of the song and I thought, oh, and she started singing and I said, oh my God, I was meant to hear it. That call was meant to drop. Crazy. Let me just see. Suzanne is asking, saying, I had a cordless phone shortly after my husband died. Phone lit up and it showed, please check line cord. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And anything electronic like that, because they're pure energy. And again, I'm talking about a loved one, whether you have a pet in spirit, whatever. Because they're pure energy, they can manipulate electronic things. They can manipulate lights. They can manipulate television. They can manipulate phones. I've had people have missed calls from loved ones who have passed on, and they're like, how is that even possible? Oh, it's possible. They can do it. They can do it. It's incredible when you start sort of tuning in and opening up to this stuff. Let's see. Lynn is asking, could they have difficulty sending the sign you asked for and need to send a different sign? I've never had, I'm telling you, the one woman said to me, I purposely used a hard one. I used the theme song from Cats. Now, I don't think I've ever heard in my life the theme song from Cats, except on like a commercial when Cats was on Broadway. And she got the sign. Okay. So I've never heard of anybody assigning a sign that was too difficult and it not coming through. They always find a way to get through. I've had people, assign signs for someone like a loved one's name who is just an odd name that you never hear, and somehow it comes through. So I would give it a chance. I would honestly give it a chance. And Suzanne said, I sometimes get random song lyrics that pop into my head when I wake up in the morning. If you pay attention to that, because sometimes that could be a message, not just from a loved one, but from the universe, from a guide. My husband and I were just talking about that last night. He's like, I don't know why all of a sudden this song popped in my head. And I was like, you need to pay attention to it. And then the next day, a song popped in my head, and I'm like, isn't this so weird? And it sort of had to do with stuff that we had going on. So definitely pay attention. The universe speaks to you through signs, through synchronistic experiences, and through things, ideas, songs, whatever that just pop into your head out of nowhere, right? We often think we have a brilliant idea, but that idea was sort of telepathically planted in our head by spirit. So, yes, Genevieve, I love that. She said, I call that musical messages. I love that. And yes, that totally happens all the time, but spirit can totally pop things into your head. So really it's sign synchronicity and just random things, that the ideas, I say, that sort of come to you, or things that come out of nowhere and you think, I didn't even hear this song. Why am I singing it? It's a message, right? So that is why I wanted to come on here today, to share with you all, to get that chance to assign a sign. If you've done this exercise with me before, I always say, assign another sign, pick a different loved one, pick another angel, pick a pet that's passed on. And you can do this as many times as you would like and really create your own guide of how these different loved ones, angels, entities communicate with you, so that you know who's around you, because they want you to know they are there. Even your angels want you to know they are there and they are supporting you. So that's what this exercise is for. And I really wanted to do it because I had such cool stories to share, especially the one with my husband about the sign that he got from the guide that he connected with, but also all of the people that, were at that event with me and did that and had those signs so quickly on their lunch break, and it was so great. And that's why I really did it before the lunch break, because I was like, let's just see, I bet you somebody gets their sign, and they did. But again, don't freak out if you don't get it right away. It's okay. Everybody is different, but when you get it, come back here and let me know. Let me know. And if you've done this exercise with me before, share with me, share in the comments with other people how it went for you and what happened, because it truly is such an amazing thing. And I've had people who have never, ever received a sign in the past do this exercise. I remember years ago when I first started teaching this, a guy said to me, I assigned a sign to my daughter who passed away, who I've never heard from, and I literally got the sign 3 times in one day. It truly will open you up into a different realm if you've never had it before. Oh, Lynn is saying, thanks, Tammy. My son will send a song on a song, a plane, or even a bug, and I just know it's him. I miss him and need to ask for a specific sign. Heard from him from a while and miss it. Give him a specific sign. I promise you. And then once you give it to him, it's gonna keep happening. I promise you, it's going to keep happening once you assign it. Oh, wait, hold on. I just want to do the last one and then I'm going to sign off. Suzanne is saying, the first song I had, I couldn't quite work out who sang it at first. All I could hear is the first few words. And I asked my husband if he could give me more to help me out. And it was Celine Dion, Immortality. And he loved Celine Dion. And oh my God, I listened to the words and I believe he was talking to me. 100%. That's what happened with that I Hope You Dance song years ago. My sister's the one who heard it on the radio and said, I swear to God, I think this is mommy. I think she's talking to us. Again, we wound up by taking that sign, assigning her that song, and she's still using it over 20 years later. I just got it 2 days ago. Over 20 years later, she's still using that same song. So whatever you assign today, that is it. This person, this loved one, this pet, whomever, they will use it again and again. It is one of their signs for life, I promise you. So it's just the coolest thing. And I just love teaching this stuff and talking about this stuff and sharing this stuff. And I love hearing from all of you about how it went, how the sign went. So please reach out to me, because I never tire of hearing the crazy, amazing stories of how spirit finds a way to get things through to us. And then it always helps me, like the stories that I was telling you here, it helps me tell other people, like, listen, this woman assigned the song from Cats, which is the craziest thing, and you don't hear that, and she got it, so that means you can get it, right? So I love hearing from you, and it helps me to help other people as well. So KJ is saying, I have a loved one who's Irish. What about any Celtic signs? You can use any sign you want. You can use a symbol or something if that's what you mean. Anything like that, 100%. You can use any of that. All right. So thank you all for being here with me today. I love doing these weekly spirit boosts. Please report back and let me know what happens. Please have an amazing and wonderful weekend. Do something I always say that brings you joy to boost your own vibration. I hopefully by the end of the weekend, you will all have your signs. If not, you're just going to ask again because I promise you they were sent and you missed it. And I'm sending you all my love. I will be back here again next Thursday at noon. I'm here live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram every Thursday at noon for a weekly spirit boost. I will see you all then. Have a wonderful and amazing weekend. And sending you my love and blessings and signs. Bye, everyone.